Alright, vitamin D and vitamin B12. Those are probably the only two vitamins that we need as supplements that are not available in our regular plant-based whole food. Alright, so vitamin D is what we're going to talk about. This vitamin, vitamin D, is a vitamin, but it behaves like a hormone in many different ways. It is important for strong bones and myriad of different functions in the body. And that's why deficiency of vitamin D is related to many different chronic diseases. All right, so it's important. If it's important, where do we get it from? Does it come from food? Well, yes and no. Vitamin D is normally not present in food, but it can be added. Does milk have vitamin D in it naturally? Does the cow produce it? Well, vitamin D is actually added in the milk. Same, you can add vitamin D in any type of milk. But where is it produced? Who produces it? Guess what? We are good at this. Human beings, our skin produces vitamin D. What are the conditions in which the skin produce? We don't produce vitamin D in the night. We only produce it during the day. Even during the day, under specific conditions, when there are certain UVB rays. We're talking about vitamin D, and we need UVB rays. All right. So UVB rays are one of the two ultraviolet. Well, there are two or three. There are many. The UVA is not good because too much UVA can cause cancer. UVC is pretty bad too, but UVB that's the one we need. When is UVB at its max during the day? It's between 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's the time when you see a lot of UVB in the atmosphere. And that's the time that our skin should be exposed to UVB. Now, by exposed, I mean if you put a sunblock, then you're not going to absorb any UVB. If you put a sunblock that blocks 99% of UV rays, you're going to get very little UVB rays. And if your skin doesn't absorb those rays, it's not going to be able to produce vitamin D. All right. So why 10 to 3? Because that's the time when UVB rays are not filtered by our atmosphere. Early in the morning and late in the evening, somehow the atmosphere filters out some of the UVB rays, and you only have UVA, which is not really that good for your skin. It can cause cancer and all those things. One note though about winters, especially in northern regions like Canada and probably Russia, China, and northern Europe. The problem with winter is that you don't get enough UVB rays, you only get UVA. And you know whether you're getting UVA or UVB based on something called as UV index. So a lot of weather reports will tell you what is the UV index for that day. So if it's 2 or less than 2, that means it's very low. If it's that low, then you're really getting just getting ultraviolet A and not UVB. So in winters, you can't really produce vitamin D if you're at a higher altitude. All right, so what do we do? Well, there are two things you could do. In summer, the UV rays are pretty high. So if the UV index, let's say, is 7 or 8 or higher, which is very high, in that and that's usually in summer you get that sort of UV index. So if it's 7 or 8 or higher, then someone who's got very fair skin, like a Caucasian, they would need about 10 minutes of exposure. After 10 minutes, they can put all kinds of sunblock if they want, because in 10 minutes they'll have enough vitamin D built up. Brown skinned people, you probably need to be out for 30 minutes. And after that, you can put sunblock so that you don't get sunburned or you don't get cancer and all those things. If you're dark skinned, if you're black from African race, then you probably need 60 minutes or longer of exposure to sunlight to produce enough vitamin D for your body needs. So there you go. This is especially true for immigrants to Canada, because immigrants don't get enough sun. They come from tropical countries or countries where you get enough sun. You come here and then you get in trouble because you don't have enough vitamin D built up. So for those people, supplements may be necessary. But the first line of action, first approach should be in summer. Try to spend as much time as possible in the sun, and make sure you put sunblock only after you received sufficient amount of sunlight to produce vitamin D, and that too between 10 and 3. After that, if you're still low, and how do you know it? Through blood tests, you can get supplements. One interesting point though, a friend of mine told me that in the Middle East, okay, in the Middle East where you get intense sun all year round, people are deficient in vitamin D. Do you know why? Because nobody goes out. Curtains are drawn during the day. Nobody goes out. They try to spend more time in the night because it's too hot during the day. As a result, they're all vitamin D deficient. So there you have it, folks. Spend sufficient time outdoors. Be wise about it. Get your vitamin D. It's very important for different body functions and can prevent a lot of diseases. Goodbye.